Picture waking up to the sound of chainsaws on your property. And I mean your land, the deed you own free and clear. And watching a 200-year-old oak older than your great-great-grandfather crash down while you're still holding a coffee mug. That was my Thursday morning. My name is Garrett Tremblay, and I moved to Pine Haven Estates, North Carolina, after a brutal divorce to find peace on the 8 acres I inherited from my uncle Donovan, a Korean War vet whose property predates the HOA by over a century. Uncle Donovan raised me summers on that land, teaching me how to fish the creek and why you never rush a dovetail joint. And when he left it to me, it felt like inheriting a heartbeat. I'm a semi-retired civil engineer, worn down by 30 years of road design and a divorce that ate half my retirement. So I wanted quiet mornings with my rescue dogs Hank and Dolly, coffee on the porch, woodworking, and volunteering at the food bank. But then came Shayna Kovac, the HOA president who runs Pine Haven like Marie Antoinette with a gavel, platinum bob, G-Wagon, and a bless your heart smile as she finds neighbors for bird feeders and garden gnomes while her friends keep inflatable flamingos without consequence. She hated my historic colonial blue shutters because they clashed with her beige pottery barn kingdom, slapped me with violations I fought and won, and ever since, I was a target. 6 months before the bulldozers, she pushed a community connectivity project that meant cutting a private road straight through my land to save residents 90 seconds to the golf course, holding a vote I was never notified about. Then one dawn, I ran outside in boots and pajama pants to find bulldozers gouging my meadow and a dozer poised against my oldest oak, the foreman waving a work order signed by Shayna herself. I called her, called the management company, called anyone who'd listen. But by the time I hung up, the oak was down, 217 years of growth gone in 90 seconds. I filed police reports, pulled deeds proving no easement existed, and documented everything. But Deputy Ortiz told me it was civil, not criminal. Get a lawyer. Days later, I was served at the food bank with a $47,000 lawsuit for obstructing the project. And Shayna smeared me on the HOA Facebook group until my neighbors treated me like a pariah. My own daughter called from college after classmates asked if her dad was having a breakdown. Just when I thought I was beaten, Lionel Casterbridge, a retired postal worker and the lone dissenting board member, knocked on my door with a casserole and a folder of unredacted HOA minutes exposing Shayna's corruption. Overpriced contracts funneled to her brother-in-law, meeting notices, lost, selective enforcement destroying families. I dug deeper, filed state records requests, and discovered the $78,000 road project actually cost $52,000 with the difference vanishing into thin air. And Shayna's real estate firm registered the contractor's LLC, meaning she was paying herself with HOA money. I countersued for $150,000, filed complaints, and dumped the public records onto the community Facebook group with one line. Transparency matters. You decide. Screenshots spread before she could delete them, and suddenly people were asking hard questions. Shayna panicked, called an emergency board meeting to expel me, tried to frame me with a PowerPoint of false police claims, Facebook posts, and my truck parked on the street. But when it was my turn, I asked if anyone had seen the contractor's insurance. Silence fell. I slid copies across the table showing Green Path Construction's liability policy had expired before work began, making every board member personally liable for any accident on site. In that moment, the room turned, whispers rising like wildfire, neighbors realizing Shayna's arrogance had put their homes and savings on the line. And that's when I knew the war wasn't over, but for the first time since the chainsaws started at dawn, the tide was turning against her.